seen and not heard for a minute, Dan, so I can mash the button. Hold on, got to find the hit play button. There we go. Hi, I'm Rick.
I'm Dan.
I'm George.
I'm Jake.
And we are Queer Magnolias,
the podcast.
In each episode,
we're going to talk about everything from growing up queer in the South to the issues affecting our community today,
with a little bit of fabulous sprinkled in along the way.
Join us for an all-you-can-eat buffet of queer joy,
mixed in with the occasional bitch fest,
but always served with the spiciest tea.
Well, hello.
Hi.
First of all, happy Valentine's Day for everybody.
Everybody.
And secondly, and most important, already getting messages. Secondly, and more important, welcome back, George. How was your trip? We'll talk about it on the front porch.
Yes. Thank you, and yes.
I'm going to shut you down before you even say it. I don't want you to ruin the whole front porch thing of it all.
Rick is in full force tonight, honey.
I knew I should have started with something stronger than iced tea. I just knew it.
No. I started out the day with 4 cups of coffee. I've got this brand new Earl Grey tea that I thought was caffeine free. It's not. And I found that out the hard way about 2 hours ago. So I'm a little wired. So here we go.
Like the hard way. I feel like the hard way is how you like to find things out, Rick.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't the way I like to find things out.
Right.
I just
Mr. Magnetico or whatever his name was. Fistico or whatever. What was that stupid toy's name?
Fisto.
Oh,
Fisto.
Was it Fisto? No, I thought it was something else.
Fisto was a He-Man character. We're just going to leave that right there on the table.
Indeed. So, all right, Dan, lead us off. Kick us off. What we got going on this week?
So we decided, since it's that sweet time of the year where we want to talk about sweet things and Valentine's Day, that we would go a little easy on the news today. So I do have a couple of news stories, but not the typical political stuff. So I did learn today that Lego makes a set of Valentine's Day roses that you put all the little Lego parts together and it makes a bouquet of roses. I'm like, oh my God, that's just so cute.
No, thank you. I ain't got the time, nor the patience, nor the willpower to be fucking putting together no Legos.
So
I mean, if you want to give me a bouquet of Lego roses, I have no problem with that. You won't be getting one from me, just so we're clear.
I think I can understand that you weren't good at model cars growing up either, right?
I was really great at the invisible plane.
And the twirling.
That's right. I even built an area within the invisible plane where you could twirl if you needed to. If you needed to get off the plane and become Diana Prince, you were ready to go.
Also, in the invisible plane, there was a mini bar. Let's just be
It wasn't mini.
Wet bar, honey. Wet bar.
Exactly. It was a very wet bar. Indeed.
Isaac from the Love Boat was back there bartending. It was
my gosh.
One does what one must do. That's for sure.
So speaking of Isaac from Love Boat, me and my TikTok channel, and I'd love me some TikToks at 4:00 in the morning. But there's a series of interviews that he's been doing that are showing up on TikTok, and I'm not sure where he's doing the interview. It's, to be clear, it's an interview that they're posting the clips on TikTok. It's not his channel or anything. But he talks about his time on the Love Boat and how, because he was the bartender and he was always dressed in the bartender garb and all of that, when certain guest stars would come on, they always looked at him differently than they did the rest of the cast. And he tells such great stories, but he does it in such a way that's so he won't say who it was, but he, everybody's kind of, oh, I know who that was, and I know that episode, and it's quite fun. But he's not trying to take anybody down, but there's some great little stories he's got.
So once he left the Love Boat, he and I'm assuming a group of other people, that's a big assumption, they started this thing called the Center Theater Group downtown. They took an older theater that wasn't being used, and they brought all kinds of plays into downtown Los Angeles. Back when the only other thing going was the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. So, and they brought in a very diverse group of plays and actors to do these shows. He has put a lot of time in theater work in Los Angeles since the Love Boat days.
I had no idea of that, Dan. Like, I've seen so many plays through the Center Theater Group. That's amazing to know. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, is he doing anything coming up? I'd love to go see him.
I don't know if he's doing anything. I mean, he was part of the group running the theater, so I don't know that he was always acting in the shows. But anyway, we should look and see. I mean, as far as I know, they have reopened because all of downtown was closed for a while. Well, Fake It Till You Make It is playing right now.
Oh, so well, there you go.
Yeah. So I was trying to see who's in it, if I knew any of the people. I do not. But also in other news, we've just turned into our new year in the Chinese zodiac. This year is the wood snake.
And we love a wood snake, honey.
I'm hoping this year will bring a little anaconda one way or another. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I'm missing the anaconda. So in Eastern
my anaconda
religion,
don't want none.
So in Eastern religions, the snake is a revered and not a feared animal. And so the snake has a lot of different stories in the Chinese zodiac, but the snake represents shedding bad energy. It's about renewal and regeneration, transformation, growth, and wisdom, and meeting new people. And for the rabbit over here, it's actually a really good year for me. So I'm very excited about that.
Snakes and rabbits, girl.
That's right. We make good friends according to the Chinese zodiac. So, but
mine is tiger. What's yours, Rick?
I'm not sure, but
he knows. He ate at those damn Chinese restaurants with the little thing. He knows exactly. He knows somebody's going to Google that shit.
I'm not sure. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll conjure a guess at some point later on after the show. Not on air.
Oh, I already conjured one, but I won't call you.
Oh, shut up. Hush, you. Hush. Hush.
1946.
What was that year? It was the year of the dead, I think.
The Maltese,
I was going to
say, the Maltese Falcon.
Yes, exactly. That's it. But I was going to say, isn't it funny how in a lot of Eastern religions, all of these animals that we fear in our here in the United States or in our religions or whatever how that works, are always one that are very revered in other religions and other philosophies and other countries as well. It's very interesting to me that we take things that are revered and make them feel fearful. Oh, like that. So.
Well, I also think that over the years, that's been a way to try to control the people who go to certain types of churches and religions, is to make them fearful of something. So then they have to turn back to God and to the minister or what have you. So
controlling through fear.
Yep.
Very familiar.
It does sound familiar, doesn't it? Wonder who else might try to do that. So that's about all I got for the news. It's a very short news week this week.
Well, that's all right. We don't mind short news weeks. So
no,
we definitely need that reprieve, I think, with everything that's been going on, for sure.
And there's so much false information going around. I did learn today, though, that Speedy Gonzalez was arrested by ICE. We're going to have to get into the streets and protest now.
Oh, Lord. Should I send her to the waiting room?
Yikes, Dan.
Yeah. It was a cute little video somebody sent to me, or Roberto sent it to me earlier. It was really cute.
So moving on from that, I'm going to talk about
very quickly, please. Quickly.
It's going to be Valentine's Day this week. And I think that, Valentine's can be very triggering for folks, especially folks that are single. All y'all's. Yes, honey. I want to just tell people that I think something that they should do for themselves this week, whether you are booed up or whether you are as free as the wind on this beach,
What if you're boozed up? Same thing.
same thing, that you need to do something for yourself this Valentine's Day. Something that you want, that, honey, don't rely on some other person to give to you. What do you want?
That's right.
Go and do it for you, whether it's going to a movie, whether it's taking yourself for a facial. Don't say anything, Rick. Whether it's going to get a massage, whether it is going to dinner, that restaurant you've always wanted to go, whether it's taking a dance class. Girl, go do it. Do it for you. Because here's the thing. All that you really need to feed is that soul that's right in here. That's what you need. That you need to nurture. So do something for you this Valentine's Day that you've always wanted to do, and don't wait for somebody else to give it to you. Because, honey, you're the one who needs to give to you.
1000%. And now that you brought up a movie, there's a movie playing right now that I'm wearing this shirt in honor of, and it's a Valentine's Day made for people like me, and it's called Heart Eyes, and it's a Valentine's Day slasher movie, and I have been waiting to go. It came out, I think, this past weekend, and I've been waiting to go because I want to see it over the Valentine's Day weekend. Very excited for it.
So take a lesson from Rick. Rick is taking himself to a film that he's wanted to see, and he's very excited for it. So take a lesson from Rick. Go see Heart Eyes, I guess.
Yeah, see, you'll love it.
Absolutely. And one other suggestion, which may sound a little like, okay, whatever, but if you're single and if you don't have a reservation, don't go out on Valentine's Day, because it's
if you didn't make a reservation on January 1st for Valentine's Day, you can forget it. Not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen. And the thing is, they're going to take everything out of the back of the freezer and serve it that day anyway. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Thanksgiving, they take everything that's ready to be thrown out and make it. That's it.
That's funny.
Well,
but
wait,
go ahead. Go.
Dan, what are you going to do for yourself on Valentine's Day?
I'm going to stay home and cry.
Girl, that is not what I just said.
No, actually, several
crying can be very cathartic. I mean,
there's
nothing wrong with that.
Several of us are going out on Saturday, the 15th, but really for Valentine's Day, it's a work day for me, and so it'll just be an easy day.
So your Saturday is going to be your Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Saturday's going to be my Valentine's Day.
I love that.
You're not wrong, Aaron. It could be very dangerous. Thank you very much. But I do want to touch on something, though, that you had said about going out to dinner and by yourself even. And that always seems to be an issue, I think, for people is like, I don't want to go out to eat by myself. And I appreciate that because I think when I was, younger, it wasn't that long ago, but anyway, when I was, shut up, both of y'all. But I always had an issue. It's like, I don't want to go to the restaurant by myself. It feels weird. Now I actually prefer it sometimes. I just absolutely love going into a restaurant or a movie theater or any place alone. The only time I don't like being alone in a movie theater is for one of these big tentpole movies like the Avengers or some big superhero movie or whatever. I want a group of people because, it's an experience. I'll never forget what it was like watching Avengers Endgame and the big finale of that movie. And I was with a group of people, and the entire at the big moment in the end. And for the two people that haven't seen it, Dan, there's a big moment at the end that happens, and the entire theater erupted. And there's nothing that will ever beat that feeling. You're just in that crowd in that moment, and the screaming and the hollering, and people were crying, and it was kind of really crazy. So I absolutely love that. So I would say if it makes you uncomfortable going somewhere alone, try to work through it and just try to just push yourself and see if you can get there. Like Aaron said, he goes to lunch all the time by himself. He said the first time is a little odd, but after a few times, it's not so bad. So.
Sitting with yourself is great. I love to sit with myself and my thoughts and my wants, needs, and desires.
And I get to order whatever in the hell I want to eat and eat it and be happy about it.
With absolute no judgment. If I want 6 tacos, I'm having 6 tacos.
Right. And if I want
exactly
seafood,
right.
I don't have to see Rick go, ooh.
Well, you're gonna see that anyway because I somehow know, and I'll just start texting. I'll be like, "I see you, I see you."
I
So,
see crab cake.
Right. But
we can smell your dirty crab cakes from here.
right.
So, but one thing though I've kind of found lately too is when I go out by myself, like for breakfast or something, if I go by myself and I run into somebody that I know and they want to come over and start talking and have a whole ass conversation, and I'm like, not really, not really ready for that right now. So.
I was trying to get back on the wagon. Stop pushing me off.
Mama's a little hungover. Don't talk to me right now. Jeez.
I did not come here prepared for this or you or this conversation. So I'm gonna say it's a hard pass, girl. It's a hard pass.
That's exactly right.
Try me next week.
Oh, Lex is here. Lex says he sits by himself for lunch all the time before he met his wife. Do you go to lunch with your wife now all the time, or do you guys still have separate lunches by yourself sometimes? Just curious. So, cheers.
Blow on that mug so people will think the coffee's hot. There
Ooh,
you go.
There you go.
It's that Earl Grey, honey.
It's that Earl Grey tea that has no caffeine.
Yeah, it's all caffeine. Trust. So,
Earl Grey is good, but it has more caffeine than coffee.
well, there is a decaf version of it but I thought I was getting the decaf version, and it is not decaf. So, and yeah, like I said, anyway. All right, shall we move on to the big glow up?
Sure.
Sure, great. So for me, what I wanted to talk about in the glow up was not so much about, usually it's about pointing out an ally or an up and coming queer celebrity or that, but I wanted to actually turn it around this time and talk more about gay rom-coms, because we didn't always have gay rom-coms. They're kind of a new thing, I think, in the past 10 years, maybe.
Sure.
For the most part. So I love that. And I want to sort of talk about it a little bit. I think they're more than just feel good films, right? They're a celebration of love. They're a celebration of joy. They're most importantly is about representation in our community. So I wanted to start with probably my all-time favorite rom-com, and Dan and the core group know this very, very well. It is a holiday rom-com called Single All the Way. I watch it every single year. It's on Netflix. I absolutely love that film. It just fills me with joy. It's got all the. I mean, it's classic Hallmark movie, but it's centered around LGBTQ characters, and I just absolutely love it. So,
Who's in that
you
one?
guys, what's that?
Who's in that one?
What's his name? Jake McFarlane? Is that his name? So who was also in Bros, which is also on my list. So he's the really built guy. Also Jennifer Coolidge is in it. Who's the blonde from Schitt's Creek?
Oh yeah, Annie.
And Kathy Najimy is in it as well. Barry Bostwick, I think, as well. So
it's Luke McFarlane, and let's not forget Michael Urie from Ugly Betty. Is it?
Yep. Yes, Michael Urie. Luke McFarlane. I said Jake McFarlane, didn't I? Sorry.
Luke.
I think his name was Jake in the show, wasn't it?
So help me out. What is the Christmas movie with Kristen Stewart, which is also really great?
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. What was that? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. Which I'm not a big fan of Kristen Stewart, but I really loved that movie. I thought that was so great. And it's very, very Hallmark, but
I totally agree. And I'm not the biggest fan of Kristen Stewart. Well, I should take that back, because she makes me crazy because she's a mouth breather, right? So she breathes through her mouth and not through her nose. And then that just makes me kind of insane. But I kind of really loved her in the Charlie's Angels movie. And I know it didn't do well, and everybody's like, oh my God, not the Charlie's Angels. But I loved her in that movie. But yeah, you're right. In this, I know the movie you're talking about, and I can't think of the name of it.
Called Happiest Season.
Happiest Season. All right. Well, I think we'd be remiss not to talk about Red, White, and Royal Blue, which was such a big thing when it came out. You know what I'm talking about? I think it was on Amazon. So it was based on the book.
Sure.
And Bros.
Yeah, Casey McQuiston has done a lot of good rom-coms. Red, White, and Blue got made into a movie, but that's just one of the many. And she always has plenty of queer characters in them, and she's a great author.
Is it isn't Red, White, and Royal Blue part of a I won't say franchise, I hate that word, but part of a series, I guess.
It's not part of a series, it's a standalone, but she's done others in a similar vein. But I think she's done, I don't know, 6, 8, or 10 different books. And but they all are, that kind of rom-com feel-good type books. She's really a great seller.
Red, White, and Royal Blue would never have happened without Heartstopper.
Well, and that's on my list. I think you're absolutely right. Heartstopper is absolutely just the absolute sweetest, loveliest show I think I've ever seen. And it's just really beautiful. And I just love it. So if you haven't seen Heartstopper, you've got to. And it's based on a graphic novel, right? Correct.
I remember watching the first season and saying to people, like, I know it's like a YA thing. It's like, and we're slightly out of the YA category at our ages. But here's the thing. It makes you believe in love again. Like, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And when I say that Red, White, and Royal Blue wouldn't have happened without Heartstopper, I mean, it wouldn't have gotten greenlit for Netflix without. Of course, the novel would have happened.
Right.
The green.
Well, and I agree with you, because Heartstopper, George, bless him, got to hear Dan blubber through the last 2 episodes of the last season. I mean, there were tears on my phone sending George texts. Yeah, it was, but I think the loveliest thing about it is it's tender. And tender is one of those words that I don't think most of us associate. When you get a little older, you think, oh, tender, whatever. But I mean, these guys are young, and their families, one family is very supportive. The other one has a tough time, and it's not necessarily a tough time about him. They just have a tough time in general. It's a difficult family.
Yeah.
But the amount of rainbow alphabet characters is just so beautiful. There is nothing that isn't represented. It is truly, really, really so good.
And unlike a lot of things where they're like, okay, let's just jam in every single letter of the alphabet, it feels effortless in this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's
natural and organic, all of it.
Yeah, and it's done intentionally. And every character has an arc. There's no character without an arc. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's just so amazing. Gosh, can you imagine in the 80s if we'd had Christopher Reeves in Heartstopper? I mean, or somebody, somebody young back then, Carrie Elwes, come on, just some of it, I mean, we didn't have anything even remotely close to that.
I'm still trying to get past the fact that what tender feels like. So
I had to look up the word before we came on the podcast. Trust me. I don't know tender.
I want to believe that a young Charlie Sheen would have just been a very different person if he'd just been in Heartstopper in 1984.
Right?
I think you're absolutely right. I'm sure he would be. But I think it would be remiss not to mention, and I don't know, it's certainly not up there for me with Heartstopper, but it is kind of like Love, Simon is what I'm talking about. Love, Simon, when that came along, I was like, oh, I don't know what to expect of this movie. And it was kind of the first one to come out for me after a series of all these movies that had a message and had all of these things going on. And I was like, I just want something that is about queer people just being like normal queer people, and not full of a message and all the stuff that we have to do. And that's when Love, Simon came out. And I walked out and I was like, I didn't hate it. It was exactly what I said I'd want something to be, but it felt like it was missing something. And then Heartstopper comes along and it filled in what I thought was missing from Love, Simon in a way. But Love, Simon for me was kind of the first stop on getting to Heartstopper. Oh, I just first stopped to Heartstopper. Anyway.
Oh, Lord.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. This week a poet. Next week, It's anyone's guess.
Girl, who can say? Aaron brought up
terrible.
the movie Trick. Do you guys remember Trick from 1990?
It burns. Yes, I remember Trick. That's a great movie too.
What I remember about Trick, Tori Spelling is in the cast. That is all I remember about the movie.
And wasn't it Billy Campbell's brother? Is that what?
Christian.
It was the
Christian Campbell, yes.
Yeah.
It's Billy's brother.
Isn't that Billy's brother?
Yeah, and
So I
John
remember
Paul Kiddick.
Oh,
Tori Spelling is in that. You were right, George.
obviously.
Don't go that far, girl. Don't go there, honey.
Obviously, I'm right.
That's funny.
But I don't remember
But
that film very well at all.
what's that?
I don't remember that film very well at all. Like I don't know if it just.
I don't remember the specifics of it. I have to look it up. It's been a while. I do know the director, Jim Fall. But I remember the specifics but I remember the specifics, like I think the guy Christian Campbell's character falls in love with was a dancer in a club, maybe, and they kind of hooked up, and it was supposed to be a trick for the evening, but they ended up falling in love. I think that's the premise. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I seem to remember I think that's what it was. So
Question, because of our age group generation.
Nice save, darling. Nice save.
What about Queer as Folk?
That is a great point. Queer as Folk was revolutionary at the time, and I know it was. It started out in the UK and it came to us, but coming here, it was revolutionary. It broke a lot of friggin' ground.
Taboos.
For exactly. I mean, in that first episode alone, and we were all glued to that TV set.
Queer as Folk. Yeah, that was the gay of the
Yeah.
day.
I don't know if that qualifies as rom-com, but it was certainly soap opera. I mean, it could not have. It was perfect. And I even liked the reboot that they tried to do a couple of years ago. I don't think it really took off. It didn't really go anywhere. But with, I think Johnny Sibley was in it, and a few other people whose names I can't remember right off the top of my
I loved it. They said it in New Orleans. I loved that so much.
Yep, for sure. So Lex says Moonlight was his favorite movie of I loved Moonlight too. It was great. It was really great. The Birdcage is one of my favorites. Aaron, thank you for that. That is what was it, you guys, that I was doing? I was watching it one day and I was just sending all these little clips that I would like record and send over with Nathan Lane. I mean, Nathan and Robin Williams, man, they just what a match. What a match.
I feel like The Birdcage, Priscilla, Tu Wong Fu, they're all kind of in that same little bubble, of time, which was a beautiful time for queer cinema, I think.
Oh, Tu Wong Fu. Oh my gosh. It had all the little Vita Works Out. I mean, there was so many great little moments. When Operation Decorator Storm. Oh my gosh. So many great moments. I need to do a rewatch of that movie. I haven't seen that in a minute.
Little Latin boy in a dress. Why are you crying?
Is that right?
I love that so much. so much. I want to bring up one movie that was it the first official positive telling of queer love? Maybe, I don't know. Making Love, 1982.
It always comes to this movie, doesn't it? It always comes back to this movie.
It does, but it's just was that somebody? I don't know the answer to the question. I guess we should look it up. But was that?
It was it was the very first movie ever shot by a major studio that included a homosexual love affair.
That was portrayed positively.
Positively, that's right.
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep they wanted to cast Meryl Streep and she was unavailable. That's how Kate ended up with the role.
Oh, I love Kate Jackson in that role, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I love me some Meryl, but I don't know if I could see anybody other than Kate doing that.
You like Sabrina.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my list. There's a couple on here that I've never heard of. Maybe you guys have. Saving Face. Do you know what that is?
Nope. Next.
And then the thing about Harry. I don't know what any of those were, so I didn't really talk about them. So, Lex has his copy of Tu Wong Fu. We need a screening. We should do a screening. We should do a like a watch along or whatever those things are.
Wait a minute. What about Morris, the M. Foster movie, the Merchant Ivory film?
Maurice, yes.
Well, it's not Maurice, it's Morris, but it's spelled.
All right. I think that was, so that was a big hit, but it's British. So, it wasn't an American cinema, which is okay, but it was really huge though. I remember because that came out while I was in college.
Yes.
I remember it was just so beautiful.
It's one of the few films, and based on the book that it was written from, because it's an E.M. Foster novel, it actually has a happy ending for the gay character. So that was completely revolutionary.
Yeah.
Never heard of before, right? And what year was that? Sorry.
Hold up.
83, 84 is my guess.
Yeah.
The year after Chariots of Fire, or maybe the same year as Chariots of Fire, which I think was 81.
87, actually.
87. Wow.
So Making Love was still the first positive affirming movie. And Aaron brought up one I wanted to talk about, which is Fire Island from 2022. I absolutely loved it. I don't think they broke any new ground with that film, but I thought it was a lot of fun with the cast. It was a fun movie to watch. It's I would kind of classify it for me as kind of a popcorn film in a way, in a very fun way, much like Bros. I don't think I probably shouldn't be saying this because I work for their company, but Bros didn't really break any ground. It just was a nice positive portrayal.
And Blessed, it didn't make any money either.
Oh, Lex, Jeffrey. Do you remember Jeffrey was Steven? Was it Steven Weber? Or I thought it was Steven Weber and what's the guy from he was from Days of Our Lives, and he had a nighttime show. Scott.
He was Pretender. He played the role
yes.
Pretender. Yep.
Yes. Oh, Aaron's going off now. He's got all the films. I can't cover them all, darling. We could do a separate episode. But the Broken Hearts Club, who stars a certain MAGA someone that we won't be talking about, who was also Superman at one point. Brokeback Mountain was another good one as well. Oh, Brokeback Mountain. That was a great one. So I don't know if it was all that positive, but it was definitely a great one.
There was no rom-com about Brokeback Mountain.
No. Well, I don't know.
I think he's just in the movie mode right now. So bring him on. Let's build a list.
I love it.
We could do a watchback, like a spin-off watchback podcast.
We should put our list together and put it on social for folks to.
Yep, totally. Can we save this comment stream? Dan, do you know how to do that?
Well, George, you can screenshot it, can't you? You're on your Apple. You can take a screenshot.
I can.
See? Ta-da! I heard it. You did it.
Did you hear that, girl?
I heard it. We heard it. We all heard it.
It is happening live as we speak.
Well, I love it.
Done. Stop commenting, everybody. That's all.
That's hilarious. All right, so shall we move on over to the front porch?
Yes,
the French porch. Let's do it.
The French porch. Yes, let's do it. Anybody want to do the sound effect? Because I don't have it handy. Sorry. One of these days I'll get to it.
I listened to a couple earlier and I didn't like any of them, so I didn't do it. So, bam. There you go. That's close enough.
Should get Aaron to do it. I think he did it the best last week. So. All right, and hi, welcome to the front porch. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. So George, you had a good time in North Carolina?
So I was in North Carolina last week. Thank you, Aaron, for filling in for me. That was wonderful. It was nice to see. It was really fun to be on the other side of the podcast, to actually just be an audience member. That was very, very different. So
I imagine you wanted to say things and you realized whatever you said wasn't being recorded.
It wasn't even being read. Thanks, Rick. Thanks so much for that.
I'm not the only one here. It's not my job to moderate every single comment. I'm sure I missed a lot tonight, even. So.
Tonight, even. Well, fair. It was great. It was really fun to be in North Carolina. I was there longer than I've been for a while. I was there for, I think, like 8 days, and that seems like a nice amount of time to be there, because like I feel like 5 is usually how much I go for, and that's not enough, because the day you travel there and the day you come home, you can't even count those because that's just all day travel. It was good. It was really, really good. I was there for my birthday. I turned 31 again, and it was really nice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, darling. But
So
I don't know. I mean, 8 days is great for you. 5 days is perfect for me. I can't, 5 is perfect. 4 is too short. 6 is too long. 5 in and out, and I'm done. And thank you. I'll see y'all next year.
Wham, thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So, George, is this the first time you've been in North Carolina on your birthday in a while?
Oh yeah, since probably like I was 18.
A wee lass.
Yeah.
Since you were a wee lass.
Exactly. So 10 years ago. Since I was 18.
Uh-huh.
It was good.
Lex is drinking homemade tea that was made out in the sun today. I love that.
You love a
Come
little tea.
We do love some sun tea.
Dan, I have a question for you though.
Okay.
I think this is a better question for you than it is for Rick. Do you have a good jeweler local? Because every time I go home, we go to this one store where this amazing jewelry artist makes stuff out of old spoons. So I always buy a spoon ring, and I keep buying thumb rings because I love a thumb ring. And while I'm at home, I've been eating all this pork. So one size fits me when I'm at home, and then I come back to LA and they don't fit anymore. They're too big. So I need somebody to resize these. Do you have somebody in LA you can recommend?
I do. Yep.
I love
I
that.
have. Yep. I got plenty.
Please send me some deets, because
Okay. It's a deal.
now that I'm porkless, I'm a
Free of pork, baby. Free of pork.
exactly, the nitrates and the salts, honey.
Right?
Well, I mean, between the necklaces and the rings and all of that, I mean, I can do bracelets. That's about, that's
Yeah,
about where
you're not really a ring guy, Rick.
And I used to be probably 10, 15 years ago. Both hands, I had every finger had a ring on it, but not anymore. Just moved on from it. You know what happened? I can tell you exactly what happened. It's when I went to corporate America, and I was like, okay, I have to take off all the piercings and the rings, and slowly, one by one, all the piercings are gone.
At least the ones you can see.
Right?
No, even a lot of those, darling. I think I have one left.
Please don't post a photo.
So we'll leave it at that. So, did you do anything exciting while you were there besides eating pork?
Besides eating pork, what did I do very exciting? No, that's the great thing about being home. It's like you don't have to do. It's so nice to just sit, which I don't feel like I ever really do here in LA. You're not allowed to sit and just do nothing. You have to always be doing something. So it's very nice to go home and be like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to eat dinner at 5:30, and then we're going to watch
right.
9, and then we're going to go to bed at 9:30. That's great. And we're going to get up at 7:30 the next morning and have
it's not dinner though. It's supper. It's supper, and it's usually somewhere between 4 and 5:30.
It is a very different way of life.
Indeed, it is.
My dad is retired,
and
so we did a lot. We did a lot of shopping. We hit up a lot of vintage stores, which the South is full of. I have realized the South is not full of the same type of vintage that perhaps we want to look for here in LA. Sorry, Dan, there was no mid-century modern glassware for you.
Darn it.
That is not a thing there. No one bought that. Or they're still using it. One of the two. They're not
one of the two. All right, I can go with that.
Are we interrupting you, Dan?
I'm trying to find a movie. It's driving me fucking bananas. And I cannot find it. And I'm Googling it 18 different ways, and it isn't helping. Sorry.
Well, tell us about it. What is it? What do you remember about it?
It's a gay rom-com, and it's set in Brooklyn. And this I'm going to say this because that's what they use in the movie. This Guido answers an ad for a single white male.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. What was
I can't think
that?
of the name of it, but it is so funny. It is just really, really funny and fun. And he doesn't realize that the ad he's answering is this gay guy that's looking for a roommate.
Isn't that in the title though? I think that's in the title.
That's what I kept looking up because I thought it was like single white male or single gay male or gay man with benefits or something.
No, I think that Kiss Me Guido. It's Guido's in the title.
Guido. That's
Yeah,
it. That's it. I love that movie. It's just so silly, but I just love it.
Well, yeah, that was a fun one. I do remember that movie.
Yes, and I probably have a copy of that in storage somewhere, and Tu Wong Fu as well. The things that are in storage.
That reminds me of a film that is not at all a rom-com, but still gay, which is Mysterious Skin. And if you know, you know.
I don't know. So
I don't know if I know. I don't know. I don't think I know.
Somehow or another, I don't think that's going to be on IMDb.
No, it definitely will.
Oh, okay.
It definitely will.
It's 2004 even. All right. Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's why
all right.
Guido.
I'm interested. All right. How do I watch this? Oh, it's on Prime. It's on YouTube, Fandango at home, and Google Play, and Apple TV. All right.
You watch that and we can discuss. I don't know if we'll discuss the actual podcast, but we should discuss.
All right. Definitely.
What's it called again, George?
Mysterious Skin.
All right. So now all you people write that down and we'll discuss it next week.
Next week's topic, yes.
Aaron,
we'll do a movie follow-up.
Aaron brought up Kaboom, same director, same.
Oh, all right. I'll put that on the list too. Make a screen grab of it, and we'll do a follow-up of all this.
It's Greg Araki, so it's very.
Oh, I love Thomas Dekker from the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I met him once. He's a hot mess in a great way. Just
welcome to Dan's world.
Just a ball of energy. Everything is just chaotic, and but got such a great, lovely energy about him. But it's chaos. So loved him. Anyway, all right.
Okay.
Well, that's all I've got for the rom-com era. But thanks for all the tips, everybody. I think I've got the next 6 months set up for TV viewing, so we're good to go here.
George, did you have any one takeaway from your trip?
Gosh,
and I don't mean shoplifting.
Well, don't do that because that's a big thing in North Carolina. Don't shoplift.
Right.
Don't Winona Ryder that shit, honey.
Right.
I will say this. Okay, so I will say this. I did have this one moment where a relative decided to start talking a little politics.
Oh, there's always one. There's always one.
And
how did you navigate it?
And I just simply said, we're not talking about this. And I walked away, and that was the end of it. So I think that maybe that's just the way to go. You just say, I'm not talking about this. Feel like you know why. And I'm going to walk away.
That's right.
Yep.
And the thing
not
is,
going to go the way you want it to go. And we're just going to stop right here.
Yeah.
So.
And when it comes to me, it's like, and you're not going to win. So you may as well back away right now.
Look, no one here is getting their minds changed. No one in this conversation.
No one.
So let's stop while we're ahead.
No one's going to win this conversation. So just go on your merry way and be wrong and in the dark all you choose to be. So
that's right. That's right. And did you have a favorite thrifting location this time? Did you go anywhere you hadn't been before? Maybe I could ask that.
I don't know that I've been anywhere that I hadn't been before. I mean, I do love that one jewelry maker, the who makes things out of rings. I just think like that he's so talented. And it's just, this gentleman who doesn't have a website. He doesn't sell on Etsy. He sells with this one store in, I know it's not Lewisburg, but it's some tiny little town, it's some tiny little town in North Carolina. And you can literally call him and be like, hey, Send me pictures of the things you've got that are new, and he will.
I love that. I mean, obviously he has enough business or he has enough money that he doesn't have to worry about the bottom line, so to speak. But if if he's got enough repeat customers and he's happy with that, I think that's wonderful. It's a lot less difficult than trying to get to the post office to constantly ship things, which is a little more difficult. That takes more time.
Well, you got to get in the stagecoach, and then you got to fire up the ponies, and then away you go. But to your point, actually, you just reminded me there's a leather person that I go to when I'm back in North Carolina who has a kiosk in the big mall in my mom's town, which is the Mayberry Mall. And if you know the Mayberry Mall, it's a strip mall, but it's indoors. So they have all these little stores, like you would walk down a sidewalk in a strip mall, but you're inside the mall. So it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But he had a little kiosk sitting out, and I bought every time I go back home, I buy a leather bracelet or something from him, and he makes them all himself. And I've got some really cool braided ones that he's done that are really fantastic. So he does some great stuff.
I love that. So, Aaron, I see your question. Since it's Valentine's Day, did I make a love connection with North Carolina? The answer is no. But let me say this, and I texted Dan this because this was a first for me. Every time I've gone home, I've always been like, oh my God, is it just because I'm so jaded because we live in LA? Like, none of the boys here are cute. None of them. But this particular trip, I was like, oh my God, there are so many cute boys here suddenly. So I don't know if it's because of the places I was going, or it was just like
the veils just fell off of your eyes, my darling.
I think sometimes plants need to be watered a little bit so they get a little thirsty. So I think that's okay too.
I hear you and I check you. Thirsty sees thirsty. Rick.
Not gonna lie. I have been home many a time and I'm like, oh, aren't you cute? Don't talk. Don't talk. Just don't say a word. Don't say a word. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin this moment. Let me do all the talking.
He opened his mouth and the wheelbarrow fell out. Whoopsie.
Look, even on the ride, even on the plane ride home, like I sat next to this boy from Alabama. He was 25, 26 years old, like cowboy.
Did you give him my number?
Girl, he was going to Lake Tahoe to go skiing. And I was
you texted about this. I remember this.
I did. So, conversation like, so sweetheart, like you're from Alabama. How often do you get to ski? So we had this whole conversation, very cute. And I'm like, with your dark eyelashes and your dark hair, I'm like, yeah, you want to go to Lake Tahoe? I can get you to LA. I can get you to West Hollywood. Like as far as that, you can get on from there to Lake Tahoe.
Oh, wait a bit. What about the one you were standing in the? I think you were standing in the thing to get on the plane.
God, that's right. That was coming to North Carolina.
I think it was.
It was the jetway. That long.
Yep.
The thing that connects the plane to the airport. And it got backed up, as they do. So we were just standing out there for a while, and there was this guy behind me, like a mullet, a baseball cap, and he was on his phone. He was talking to his bro, and he was saying, like, what's going on with Elizabeth or whatever the girl's name was. And he's listening and listening and listening. And I'm like, well, he's sort of cute. And I'm sort of listening because what else am I going to do? I'm not going to pay attention to the woman in front of me with the stroller that she's got a freaking like gate check all of a sudden. And then he's like, well, it's not like she didn't know that there were guys before her. What's her problem? And I was like, oh.
Oh, I now see you, darling. Right? I have come undone.
I was like, all right, Bad Pride, North Carolina. Come on now. Get that flag out, girl. I see you. So that was an adventure. That's how the whole trip started with that kid. Yeah, that was something.
I love it. I love it.
It's not like she didn't know there were boys before her.
Right? Come on, honey. Somebody's got to hang out in that tobacco barn during the white party.
See? Putting it in, honey. Putting it in.
Yeah, right?
The tobacco, Dan.
Tobacco, yes. Don't get us kicked off YouTube.
Barn parties on
We
some-
should. I would love to talk about barn parties. It's been a while. We did that in season 3, right? So
Girl,
I
who
think.
knows what season it was? You got us.
I don't know. I change the season every 3
We've only
episodes.
got 40 episodes and we're on season 18.
I change the season every 3 episodes. It's like, oh, let's move it up a season. Fuck it. So nobody
Right.
cares.
Who's going
All that matters is that number you see in your upper left-hand screen up there. So
That's all
Oh, yeah.
I'm counting.
that's right. All right. Well, I think that's it for me.
Agreed.
I'm going to go get my Lego set and make a rose. Screw it. I'm going to give it to myself.
Yes.
I'm gonna go make a rosebud as well. So all
Well,
right,
that's a-
y'all.
honey,
I
that's
love
a
y'all.
cabbage- no,
I
that's
love
a
y'all.
cabbage head. Don't even go there.
I love
Rosebud.
y'all, and we
Please.
will see y'all next week.
Jesus Christ, I nearly spit out my gin.
Bye, y'all. HVD.
Yeah. BD.